Hello everybody, my name is Danny and today I'm going to teach you how to do your demo reel or maybe a dance project that you have on Final Cut Pro. A lot of people have asked me over the years to help them use the software, or how do I do, what are my do's, my don'ts, my tricks, and all that kind of stuff. If you are a little bit more advanced when it comes down to video software, maybe this is not the video for you. But if you're looking forward to learning a little bit more, improving your skills, or just literally starting from scratch, this is the video for you. Um, Final Cut Pro, if you're not familiar with it, it's a program that is definitely an upgrade of iMovie. iMovie is obviously very simple, very user friendly, and Final Cut is definitely something that's going to take your project to a whole nother level. Unfortunately, it's a paid app. Sorry, not a paid app, a paid software, but you actually get right now 3 months for free. It's a free trial. If you go to the Apple Store on your browser, on your website, you can actually get it for free for 3 months. You can try it and all that stuff. And I believe there's a cheat somewhere that you can actually download it again and use it again. I can't really say that for sure, but you get 3 months out of it. After that, I believe it's $299, one payment, one time, and then you get the whole program for free. But it's good to try it for 3 months. Even if you have one small project going on or a few, you can do them all at once. You get 3 months with it. And yeah, that's about it. So let's dive right into the program right now. Let's get this started. All right, so when you open Final Cut, this is kind of the interface that you're going to see right here. Obviously, I have a project already open, but we're going to start right from scratch. But before you start with Final Cut, I would like to give you a tip of advice. Organize your folders. Very, very important for you to organize all of your folders, right? If you're doing, like I said, if you're doing a demo reel, if you're doing, I don't know, a dance class project, if you're doing anything that you're doing, you want to get all your clips organized. If you notice right here, I have a bunch of clips right here going on, but I already have it organized by categories, right? So B-rolls, group choreography, small groups, trios, solos. It's gonna be super easy for you to tackle the project if you have everything organized instead of going through every single of these files one by one, etc., etc. So now that I have that, what I want to do is I want to start a new library. Okay, I want to go to the library. There we go. Now I want to make sure that that library, as I mentioned, it's on my hard drive. Don't let the library be on your computer. It's gonna take too long to render, etc., etc. So let's call this Final Cut Project. Let's just call it that. That's all. And we're gonna make sure this stays right here. Triple checking. All right, we saved it. Okay, so now we got this Final Cut Project. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna import all my media. Okay, we're not gonna start the new project yet. I wanna start importing all my media. So I can actually classify this. We have B-rolls, as I mentioned before. You wanna classify all of that. I have some solo shots. You create it, there it is. You do the same thing. I got a group choreography. If this was your demo reel, then you can actually put, classify your things as in, like, dance classes and live shows and music videos that you've done, and basically categorize it however you want. But again, it's super important, makes things easier when you're organized. So now what I do, right, I highlight B-rolls right here. I go to my folder. I got my B-rolls file right here. I select them all, as simple as that, and you're gonna drag them right here where it says import media. You just grab and drag, takes a few seconds, and boom, it's all there. And basically I do the exact same thing for all of them. So now the last thing we need to do is we need to add our audio. So for my audio, I'm just gonna go to my iTunes. I already have my song set up right here. So basically I'm gonna do the same thing. You can actually drag it right from iTunes. You can actually do the same thing, and there it is. That's my song. So now we got everything organized right here. So now, one thing that you're gonna notice is this key right here. Yeah, it's basically it's important media and it's transcoding and all that stuff. One thing I notice with every single video program that I've used iMovie in the past, obviously Final Cut Pro, and now I use a little bit more of Premiere Pro. But one thing I notice is the more footage I have in a library, the more content that I have in a library, the longer it's going to take. All right, so the next step is basically start creating your project. Right here, you notice that this is Untitled Project. So we go up here right now, and basically it's just a new project, right? So now you're gonna get this. This is, let's name it again, Final Cut Project. Okay. So you can put in any event that you want to put this project. It doesn't really matter, whatever is easier for you. I'm gonna leave it on the audio one because on the audio I have the least amount of files. It doesn't really matter. Don't stress about that. So I'm gonna leave it there on the audio event. This is the part that you might be very interested, right? Because this is where you change the size of your video. Obviously, we know based on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, there's different dimensions for the video, right? And here is where you actually find all of that, right? It's so simple to just Google what are the sizes for like an Instagram story or a square video on Instagram, or the dimensions for a wide angle video on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. So what you would do in that case, you click right here on the 1080p, and it gives you the option to do custom. So in the custom, you can actually change the pixels right here, the resolution, right? If you Google what a story size is, or like I said, a square size is, any website, any Google website will be able to tell you, and then you change it right here. For this tutorial purposes, we're gonna keep it as a 1080p. It's right there. There we go. 1080p. It's as simple as that. Your rate is usually the frame rate that you use to film your video. Most videos, are filmed at 24p, 30p. I like to use 23p because it makes the video smooth. It's easy to work with. All right, so when you get all of this, it's just as simple as that. Nothing else you need to change, and you just click OK, and then that's it. So now we have this one. If you notice right here, it changed Final Cut Project now. So now you know you're using this one. So now the next thing is, for example, in this project, I'm trying to create almost like a music video, right? A concept video. So I'm just gonna grab this one right here. I'm gonna grab the files and literally just drag them right here. It's as simple as that. You don't have to do nothing. So now for this project, for example, I already have in the music a beep. It's called a beep, right? When we filmed this video, I made sure that I put a beep before the music. I'm gonna play so you can hear it. The reason why I put that beep right there is because it makes it easier for me to sync the music. So now if I go to get my audio, right, and I drag it and I put it down there, when you put it, it's a lot of times it's very difficult, especially if you film your video outside with a lot of wind or a lot of cars and all that kind of stuff, and there's a lot of background noise. A lot of times it's very, very difficult to find where the music was so you can actually sync it perfectly. This beep helps you with that because it has a range that is very, very loud for any kind of microphone. And if you notice right here on my waves, you can actually see the beep clearly. So this helps me a lot to actually start syncing it, right? I zoom in as much as I can on both. As much as I can. I'm zooming in, I'm zooming in. By the way, get familiar with all the keys within the program. You don't need to use a lot of keys, but for example, if you go command minus or plus, you can actually zoom in. It's very, very simple. Get familiar with the keys. Makes it easier, so that way you don't have to be all wondering how to zoom in, how to zoom out. All right, so there it is. So now I'm gonna try to sync in as perfectly as I can, and we're getting there. I think I moved it. There we go. If you notice, sometimes it kind of, some of the music disappears from the browser right here, but don't stress about that. That is because this thing right here up there is still importing the media and transcoding the media. So that's what I was trying to tell you. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time because it's doing a lot of work on the back end of the program, but don't stress about that. All right, so now what I can do now here, which I like to do this, a lot of people don't do this. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about, you know, Final Cut Pro and everything. I like to do this because for dance videos, you have to be a little bit more precise. So where you want to put the one clip versus the next one, etc., etc., especially because of the music and the choreography. Yes. So what I do is I right mouse click and I lift from story right here. I'll explain in a second why, but this is super important for me on Final Cut Pro. I left from the story. So this is what happened now. See, before I do that, I'm just gonna give you an example, right? So if you click the B key, this becomes a razor right here. So now basically whatever I drag this razor, I'm gonna be able to do a cut and do a cut again. I'm just testing things right now. Let's don't stress. When I use the key A, then it becomes back to this. So now I'm not cutting. So the reason why I was doing what I was doing earlier about lifting it from the story is because what happens is if I want to move this clip, let's say that this is a B-roll that I want to use, right? But it's technically, it's right now on the track that is called storyline. So if I lift this and try to put it somewhere else, you see how the clip automatically click back in and it's almost like magnetized. So now see what happens when I do the lift the story, right? So basically now this is my storyline. This is what's called the main track right here. So now if I do the same thing, key B, I cut it right there, I cut it right there, almost the same scenario, the same situation that I did earlier, key A, but now when I left it, look what happens when I left it. The other clip stays where it needs to stay. So anyway, that's how we do it. And then, for example, let's say that you want to add some B-rolls, right? So usually for my B-rolls, I don't really have it synced to the music because this is just like, you know, beauty shots that you talk of your dancers and stuff like that. So usually I just put it, whatever it is not gonna bother me, but I have them ready right there. And let's say I have another group. Let's go for a small group choreography, right? So there we go. So on this one, this is a shorter clip. And again, just like earlier mentioned, I have the beep on it, right? So when I go right here, I'm gonna find that beep. I believe it's somewhere here. One thing that you need to know, one great thing you need to know about Final Cut is that it auto-saves everything. It really auto-saves. A difference of a lot of editing software out there, this automatically saves everything. All right, so now the next thing I want to do is I want to just disable the audio for these clips. I don't need the audio anymore. You don't want to hear it every single time. So if we go right here and we click detach audio, there we go. So now, super important for you to know, this is storyline right here. Don't leave it this long. If you trim from the beginning, you want to make sure that you drag that storyline right there. Otherwise, you're gonna have an empty space on your video, like a black empty space, and you don't want that, especially if that's not what you intended. Now, tips of advice when it comes down to dance videos and stuff like that. Try to not make, unless you're intended to be like that, if you make the transitions, the cuts too quick, it just gets too busy. Me personally, I like to give a little bit of like, you know, some kind of build up. So now you can actually start doing all of the editing right here. And again, like I said earlier, you know, it's pretty much at your at your own taste. Make sure you're consistent with your transitions, with your cut. I'm gonna use key B that turns it into this, right? So you can actually start. You find your moments, you find your clips. Let's say that I don't want all of this part at the beginning, right? I'm gonna delete this. I'm gonna delete that. Let's say I'm happy with this part right here. Right? So the things that I'm looking for is obviously going with the rhythm of the music, right? Those are the things that I'm like really interested. I'm gonna cut this a little bit short just for sake of the video, just to make sure that I'm not making a full music video right here, and this is taking way longer than it should, right? So let's say that we started right here. Right here on the bottom on the song, you can actually see that I can actually drag the little dot to make the transition of the audio a little bit smoother. So like I feel like there on that change of the beat, I want to change to something else right there. So I make it smaller. Boom. And again, you see what I'm saying? So it's all on the music. And if I want to get really detailed with the song, like I can just really zoom in to make sure that I'm on the change of the beat. I'm gonna try to move a little bit faster now. There we go. So now I'm gonna cut all of that. So now I previously select a section on this video just because I want to make it short. I'm gonna delete a lot of this stuff. Let's pretend that I'm going towards the end of everything. I put a mark right here because this is when the ending of the choreography is going to start. All right. So I put a mark right there on the video. If you go key M usually puts a mark whatever you want. Marks are really good to remind you where, clips that you want to use, you don't want to use, moments that you want to use, things that are interesting, or just to mark a part of the choreography, right? I'm going to undo that mark. I got my mark right here, and I know that on that mark, I previously marked it. I know that at that moment, that's where the choreography starts. The main choreography starts right there. If I play it, so that I know that starts. So I'm going to cut that right there. Yeah, just for sake of this tutorial. So let's pretend that now we're gearing towards the end of the whole video, right? So now I'm right here. I started with this section. There we go. And let's say that we want to finish it 5, 6, 5, 6, 7, and boom. Let's say that we want to finish it right there. Okay, let's move faster. So now let's say that that's the end of our video for now. Obviously, I don't need this whole storyline anymore. I'm gonna leave a little bit extra there. I'll explain why in a second. So now I'm bringing the music down. Obviously, a lot of people like to use transitions. Transitions are right here on the right hand side. Let me move this a little bit this way. Usually like a good blur, Gaussian is a good one. You put it on top of the video. You notice that it's giving you already a timing of how long is the transition. I mean, it's really up to you. How, again, this is all your taste. You can make them shorter, you can make them longer. This is really up to you. What do you want your video to look like? If you notice that changes the vibe of the video, right? You can make it shorter, you can make it longer. That's really up to you. My tip of advice is that the more transitions you have in a video, the busier it looks. It doesn't show the choreography. A lot of times transitions are to fix mistakes that you have. Maybe the videographer, the cameraman didn't get a good angle, or maybe the dancers were making a few mistakes. So sometimes transitions can save you. One thing I've learned is don't use more than 2, maybe even 3 different transitions per video. You don't want to do that more. It's just too much. It's just too much. So be careful with that. But again, it's really up to you. The next part is basically you're gonna start with color correction. Okay, obviously there's a lot of filters right here. I'm not a big fan of filters, but you have a lot of options. within Final Cut, different effects. Obviously, you're gonna have to try a bunch of stuff, whatever you're familiar with, maybe not, and just try it and give it a shot. Again, it's up to you, whatever you decide to do. I like to do color correction myself, so what I do is I grab right here on the top, color correction, I drop it into the clip, and then right here on the right hand side corner, I can click in this part. It gives me the color board. Depending the version of Final Cut that you have, now they come like wheels that you can actually use and manipulate, but this is as good as it gets in this way. So I'm gonna drag this just a little bit, just so I can show you something. Yeah, you can actually go section by section of coloring, right? Global means obviously the entire picture, and whether you use the actual wheel right here, and you can see how colors start changing and all that kind of stuff. Let me undo that. Or you actually can just control just the shadows, right? If we go into the shadows right here and you want that to change, there it goes, changing a different color. So you can manipulate a little bit more individually. Midtones is usually skin and all that kind of stuff. Anything that is midtones and all that stuff, and you have your, let me undo all of that, and you have your highlights, right? So you can actually play in different ways. Sometimes this could take a little bit longer, but it's more effective when you really go, especially in a specific scene that you have and you want the ocean or the sky to be a little bit more lit. Because unfortunately, when you use filters, let me go back here, let me move this upwards. There we go. When you use filters, what a filter does is basically puts color on everything. For titles, again, is the same thing. It's up to you. It's whatever you really want. You go up here. That's your title section. You have plenty of options on iMovie. Plenty. And as you hover right here, you can actually see the effects and how they work. I usually go for custom because that allows me to play a little bit more with it. And it's as simple as grabbing and dragging. And when you go right there, you click on it. So now I just want to go here on the text. Yeah, on the right hand side. And yeah, we're just going to call it Final Cut Project. We're gonna make sure that it's center. You can play with the size, you can play with the position of it. If you notice, it gives you the grid, if it's center, if it's not, which is amazing on Final Cut. You don't have to worry much about that. You can change the font. The fonts are right here. You have plenty of options. Within the title, you can actually add transitions to your title. So let's say you want some kind of lens flare on your title, you add it to it. It gives you a little bit of that flare right there. Again, you can play however you want. You want something a little bit more easy, like the cross dissolve. That's a classic one. You put it right there. The cross dissolve, it just adds it this way, nice and smooth. That kind of stuff. And then you can do the same thing at the end. The reason why I left this is the extra storyline right here is because that's when I'm gonna add, usually we add a website or the social media and all that kind of stuff. So I drag this one more time and make sure it's right there. All right, there it is. And it's the same thing. Let's say I'm gonna put my website. I go over it right there. www.DannyDavalos productions.com. There we go. It's center. Let's make it just a little bit bigger. There we go. And then I usually like to even that have it on the rhythm of the music. So when I go, so right there when the music changed, I kind of maybe wanted to just cross dissolve at the end. I'm gonna put it there. I don't need this one, so I'm gonna delete that one because I like the title to come in a strong way. Boom, it turns right there. and then it just fades. Let me stretch it just a little bit more. Actually, no, I like it that way. So now I'm gonna bring this to a close. I'm gonna bring this closer right here. Just so it has a nice ending, and the music finishes, and that's about it. And this also would apply, right? If you're doing your demo reel, it's pretty much the same thing, right? You want to just find that rhythm, find that music. Like for example, if I'm listening to the song, right, just the song alone, I want to allow choreography to be shown. I don't want it to be too quick, because if you're doing a demo reel, especially if you want to showcase your skills, whether it's your choreography or whether it's your dance skills, you want people to see, especially casting directors, you want them to see what you're able to do. So when you just show flashes of things, they're not gonna see your true talent, right? So usually you want to give anything between 4 counts of 8 to 8 counts of 8 clips. So right now, if we're going 5, 6, 7, 8, boom, I'll go to the next clip, because at least I show a good little piece of choreography. 5, 6, 7, 8, and another one, right? I mean, anything between 4 counts of 8 and 8 counts of 8 is great for a demo reel, because again, you want to show choreography. In this case, we're just doing this concept video, as we're calling it right now. Basically, this part right here is in case that you need to crop your video. Well, not crop your video, just resize your video, in case you're doing like a story for Instagram, which we talked about the sizes earlier and that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that this button right here is set to transform, because what that means is you can actually make the video, hold on, let me grab it right here from the blue one. You can actually make the video smaller, larger, zoom in, and all that kind of stuff. Yes, obviously it gives you markers where you're like too long, too short. You can actually do the cropping thing. You can obviously, sorry, I keep grabbing the wrong one right here. You can actually crop it, click done, and focus on all that kind of stuff. You can also distort and add more effects. I really never use that kind of stuff. I usually use the transformation tool. And lastly, let me get out of here. The last thing, in case you need to add a logo, one thing I then put at the beginning of the files, but it doesn't matter. I want to find my logo really quick. Any of the logos that we have right here. There we go. Hold on. Is this the newest one? One quick second here. Yes. For example, super important for you to have a PNG logo. That means it doesn't have a background. I can literally, just like what we've been doing before, I can just place it. I want to put my logo right underneath my website. I want to make sure that this is the same thing. I'm gonna copy and paste the same transition so they fade at the same time, and obviously I want to make sure that this logo is the same size. Well, not the same size, but it matches. I can actually move it up or down. So I'm gonna go right here and move it down. So obviously you can play with this. I just want to put my logo right there. You can do whatever you want with it. Put it up, put it down, make it big. Just put the logo. So when we get there, boom, that's about it. And then it's time to save / export your project. And yeah, the last thing you want to do is you're going to go into File. You're going to go to Share, and you want to go to Master File. Okay, super simple. You're going to go to Master File now. This window pops out right here. If I hover, you can actually see the whole video top to bottom. You don't need to do that, but just in case if you're wondering why the screen is black, it's because I'm at the end of the storyline. Now you want to go into Settings, and you want to make sure, obviously, it's video and audio. And a lot of times this is selected to a different thing. You want to make sure it's H.264. This makes the file a little bit smaller. It's still in a great quality. You're not doing a movie. You're not doing anything that requires for you to add any extra quality to it. H.264 is the way to go. If you see right here, the file is 62 megs, and that's where you kind of want to keep it. You don't want the file to be crazy big. You click next, and that's about it. Obviously, you select the folder you want. I like to keep it in the same folder that I've been doing everything else. Let me just go right here. Let me go back to that one. We're in the Final Cut tutorial. That's where we had all our stuff. So I want to keep it there, so still organized. I click save, and you go back right here to this wheel, and then you'll see it sharing. Again, depending the size of the video, it could be a really a long wait, it could be a short one, but that's about it. So it's pretty simple. Hopefully this video is not too long. When it comes down to video editing, it's a lot of like making mistakes and trying different things. Don't get frustrated, don't get defeated. It takes time. A lot of times you're not able to do something with the audio, or your video is not working or something. There's tons of tutorials out there. Literally, if you click Final Cut Pro problem with the audio, you'll find tons of videos that will give you that. I'll be dropping a few more videos with little tutorials about how to do this, how to do that. Hopefully this helps you. Again, send me a message and let me know if there's anything that you need to know in specific, and I'll do a small tutorial for that. For now, I hope this helped. Right now we're at an 80-90%. It's almost done. It should be on my folder eventually. But yeah, that's about it. Hopefully this helps you. Stay tuned, and I'll drop a few more tutorials as we go.